Hi there, everybody. Today we are going to look at how to add some raining animation to your presentation. So, as usual, I'll start with a blank presentation and I'm going to just remove any text that's involved. I'm going to start off by inserting a rectangular shape to cover the screen. Okay, so straight away, um, oh, I've got my shape. I'm going to click my right button and format my shape to change the line outside. Don't need a line on the outside. Remove that. And I'm going to change the filter slightly darker blue, as if it's like nighttime style. So there we go. So that's what I'm going to start with. A couple of things I need to add in terms of rain is like a floor essentially. So I'm going to add that now. So I'm going to add a floor because rain tends to land on something. You don't have to do this, but I like this. I think it really kind of adds an awful lot of value to your rain effect. So I'm just going to add a kind of dark grey floor. I'm going to remove the line as usual to start with. So in terms of rain, okay, this is how I do it. People will do it different ways, and that's absolutely fine. But ultimately, I'm going to create a line to represent the rain. So it's going to go a line, and I'm going to go down all the way to the bottom, and I'm not too worried about this at all, as long as it kind of goes from the top to the bottom. And then I'm just going to change my type of line to look like a rain style, like long dash type of thing. So not consistent. So something like that. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see. So that is my rain. And now, of course, rain falls down. Um, and it doesn't fall in one just place like that. So essentially, I'm going to repeat it a number of times. So before I do that, I'm going to add the animation that goes with it, so that I have to kind of repeat the animation over and over again. So animation, I'm going to add the animation, and it's going to be a motion path going down. Okay, so that you can see it's kind of going down already. Right, the problem is, of course, as with any motion path, it kind of disappears off the bottom. So this is where I just kind of have a bit of a play around with the cheat. So I don't want it to kind of fall from the top. So that length there is approximately that. So I just need to kind of extend that a little bit. And this is the bit that I have to really be careful of because I want it to look smooth. So I have just zooming in on where it ends. So here, and then what I want to do is I want to have a look to see on my motion path where it begins. So it starts just below the two dots. So just below the two dots. So if I scroll down to the end, I want to drag this and I want it to end just below the two dots. And the reason for that is that when it repeats, it'll repeat on the same place, so you won't kind of have any problems with it looking juttery or stuttery or anything like that. So before I kind of do the rest, let me just have a look. So if I go from the slides, hopefully when I press go this time, it will come down. Oh, one thing I missed, and you probably noticed it, with any motion path, it tends to have like a smooth start, a smooth end, which I don't really need, which I don't want, I should say, in this particular case. So when I go to my animation pane, double click on the effects, I want to remove this smooth start and smooth end thing. And while I'm here, I might as well kind of say, well, I want it to rain a little bit faster. So I'll go for a second for now, and I do repeat until the end of the slide. So okay, let's have a look at this one now. So when I play it, let's have a look, see what it looks like. It should come down, no stuttering at all, continuous rain like that. Of course, if you wanted to rain harder, you would probably change the motion path to be a little bit faster. I'm going to do that because I think it should rain a little bit faster than that. I think it probably look a little bit better. It looks a little bit too, to me, just a little bit too unrealistic, just like a slow motion. That's more like it. That's more like it. Of course, there we go. So I've got a one bit of rain, and of course I need to duplicate it. So I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to do that a number of times to kind of move along. And then I'm not worried too much about aligning them because rain isn't perfect. The only thing I need to be careful of if I don't go too far down, because I don't want it to kind of disappear off the top. So I can go a little bit higher up, and that's fine. And then I'm gonna then just do a few more. So I'll do the whole lot again one more time over here. Now if I try that from the slide, hopefully you can see I've got rain, and they're all happening all one after another. So I do want them all happen at the same time. So I'm just going to select them all and say start with the previous because I want them to start together. And let's try this time. So now I've got this kind of falling down rain effect. So that, like I said, it kind of gives this nice effect. I quite like it, and you could probably play around with different animations to make it look like it kind of it's stuttery. So you could try a slightly fading on some of the animations, so the one's a little bit kind of darker than the others. But for now, to me, that does the job. It does what I want it to do. The only thing that's missing is the ground. It just seems to fly off the bottom. If you look, it just flies off the bottom. That's not really a decent effect for me. So I want to, and I will do, is add something underneath it to say, right, okay, when it hits the ground, I want it to splash, essentially. So I am going to add a couple of splashes, essentially, so some shapes. So I'm going to insert some shapes, and I like this one particularly. This kind of star, the explosion, 8 points, but you can try the others if you wish. So I'm just going to add some kind of splash effect like so. Now it comes with a big black outline, which I don't really want. So my outline color needs to be kind of in line with the splash. So that looks good to me. Um, and of course I want to repeat that a number of times. But before I repeat it, I do want, of course, some animation to go with this. So you'll notice this is what I tend to do is if I've got some animation I'm going to repeat, I'd rather add it to the first one and then I have to repeat the animation every time. So with this animation, I'm going to get it just to appear like a zoom essentially. So it kind of appears like that. It'll be sort of very quick, but it kind of zoomed. And of course, I want it to repeat as it keeps splashing essentially. So um, with this one, I'm going to change the timing. Um, so the timing probably want it to be really kind of fast. 0.3 I'll change it to. I do want to repeat until the end of the slide. And the effects, that's absolutely from the object center, and that's okay. So let's have a look. So if I just, now at the minute, it goes after. So I want it with all the rest. So I'll try this one. Let's just see what happens. So it keeps splashing. Yeah, that's really kind of cool. Okay, so it's splashing constantly as my rain continues before, but of course I'd want it in all the different places as well. So I'm going to copy and paste in different places. Now you might want to change the size of some of these. Not all the splashes are always the same size, are they? Um, or the kind of same dimensions, so you could kind of change it. Again, it's completely up to you. You are in control of doing this. I'm just kind of showing you ways of achieving it. So I'm going to copy and paste that one. And again, I'm not too worried. I'm going to go about halfway, and then what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to copy the lot. So I have to just kind of come off to get hold of them all, copy and paste. And so I've just copied and pasted to replicate them. I know that should do nicely. To move it a little bit further down. These two overlap a little bit, but it's absolutely fine because I'm not going to get them all to splash at the same time. I'm going to kind of change that splash a little bit. And again, not too worried about the alignment that much. Again, I've probably been a bit fussy here, but it's absolutely fine. Does the job. So now what happens is it should constantly splash lots of different places all the different times. And what you might want to do here is just because they all start at the same time, is maybe just delay a couple, so they're all at slightly different times, because they will be. They're not all going to hit the ground at the same time. So you'll see I'm just kind of moving a few. Don't have to all move them. Some will splash at the same time, some won't. But as it's looping so fast, you might want to change it. So let me just see what that looks like. So when it kind of falls down now, lots of splashing kind of going on, probably too much actually. So if I just kind of go down to this and change the timing of them all, so maybe 0.5 was probably okay at the beginning, and let's try that one. So let's try it now. So nice bunch of splashes taking place. And of course, you can change the timing of some of these. It might be you pick a select few. So if I just pick a couple, and I change those timings to maybe 0.8, again, just for that kind of variety, I suppose, because rain isn't perfect, is it? It doesn't splash perfect all the time. So yeah, again, just that kind of type effect. So that's looking good to me. The only thing now is the fact that the rain still continues underneath, which I don't want. So what I've got to do is I've got to kind of cover it. Now the difficulty is they're all at different levels. So I've got to draw a shape which essentially kind of matches where all these splashes are, so no rain goes beyond the splashes. So I'm going to use a bespoke shape tool, which I believe is here. So this freeform shape. And what I need to do is I need to draw from here a shape that kind of covers the splash, the splash, the splash, just so that the rain doesn't go beyond where the splash is. So you can see I'm just following it around with my left cursor held down, making sure that I go where the splash is and where the splash is. And then once I get to the end, I've got to cover this bit. So all that grey bit I need to cover, and then I need to kind of come back up and join. So it looks a bit bizarre at this point, but I'm going to format this shape. I'm going to remove the line. I'm going to change the colour, so eyedropper to match the background to there, so it now covers it. You'll notice that some of the splashes are now kind of hit behind it, so what I need to do is grab all the splashes and right click and bring them to the front, and what should see now is they all should disappear. So now when I go through and press my rain, you see my rain is there, and of course it's now all splashing on the ground, which I think is great. Really has that kind of effect. So the only thing is, and maybe this is the last one to kind of focus on, is notice at the beginning of the slide, it's already kind of there. And of course, that's not really how rain starts. It tends to fall. So I'm just going to add one more thing to each of the rain elements to this. So if I go to the animation pane, I've got all my rain here. So I'm just going to select them on the right hand side, so they're all selected, and I am going to add an animation which basically says wiping. So I want it to basically wipe down at the beginning. So wipe, and I want it to wipe from the top down. And again, I'm not too worried about the speed, but of course I want that to happen right at the beginning to kick off my rain, and then what I want that one to do is start after the previous one. So it'll come down, and then of course it will then start on the rest of the animation. So slideshow, no, nothing happening. As soon as I press my enter key or to start a presentation, rain comes down and off we go when we've got our rain. Okay, so I think it's really, really brilliant. And of course, you can make that rain in different places. So if I wanted to, what I could do, if I copy it and paste it, and again, this is just showing you different ways of doing it. I could move it a little bit kind of further across and a little bit further down, so it kind of falls in two different places. And when I play my slide now, I put them together, got the first one happening, and I've got my second one happening. So now you can see how easy it is to kind of replicate and put them across. And so you could have the full screen with lots of kind of splashes taking place. Well, I hope you found that really useful. Hope you find it kind of beneficial, and I will see you again on the next video. Thank you very much for watching.